and this first section will be live content, radio, TV, online, and second section will be embargoed written word, and then there'll be follow-on interviews after that. And we will get underway with the head coach announcing a team for the week for Thursday night.
The team to start on Thursday night against Russia. Is this working okay? Better. Okay, the team to start against Russia on Thursday evening is as follows. Dave Kilcoyne, Niall Scannell, John Ryan, Tyke Byrne and Jean Klein, Rhys Ruddock, Peter O'Mahony and Geordie Murphy. And in the back line, Luke McGrath, Johnny Sexton will be captain, Keith Earls, Bundy Arkey, Gary Ringrose, Andrew Conway and Rob Carney. The replacements will be Sean Cronin, Andrew Porter, Tyke Furlong, Ian Henderson, CJ Stander, Joey Carberry, Jack Carty and Jordan Lama.
Joe, I'll just ask you your thoughts behind the selection. A lot of changes, obviously.
Yeah, I think it might be 13 changes, just because we do need to make sure that everyone's ready and that everyone is involved as much as possible. Get everyone up to speed, and as well as that, it's pretty tough with a 6-day turnaround, then a 5-day turnaround. There's always going to be a bit of attrition, so we're looking to freshen it up and give guys an opportunity, and it's great because we've got some guys who have been very, very keen to be involved who will get an opportunity on Thursday.
Realistically, what's your ambition for the game? Bonus points expected by everyone. Is it performance?
Yeah, we have to stay around our performance-orientated goals, because for us, if we don't focus on those, we can't actually put anything on the scoreboard without getting the things that we need to put in place that we build the pressure or that we create the opportunities from. So, I felt that the first 20 minutes last weekend was very good. We got in the right field position. We turned a few balls over, which was frustrating, but at the same time we converted 2 tries on the back of some really good line breaks, and maybe that was to our detriment because we kind of stepped back after that and didn't play with the same front foot attitude, and you can't really afford to do that against a good opposition.
Joe, obviously some selections are forced upon you and all that, but Gary Ringrose playing 7th game this season, how much of a risk is that from the management's perspective?
Yeah, it's a risk, but he is feeling great and he's playing super. I thought Gary was really good last weekend. He was one of the guys who didn't really miss a beat. He was still working really hard. He was still kind of creating opportunity. I think it was very difficult. He moved into 12. We had Jordan Lama at 13, who's really a back 3 player for us. We had Luke McGrath on the wing, and we're chasing a game. And it's a fairly tough situation to be in sometimes because you're limited to 23 players. That happens like that. So with Gary, Robbie is on the cusp of being available. And again, if we put him back in this week, which we thought about, it's a risk that we feel we don't need to take because Gary's feeling good, and we could put Robbie in maybe next week, and at the same time we've got Bundy back, and he's got a fair bit of bounce about him. With Chris Farrell suffering a concussion and it being a 5-day turnaround, we just, our hands are tied there, and we want to make sure we look after Chris as well, and that's part of the formula. So we thought about potentially moving Keith Earls in there, and then we'd still have to keep Jacob Stockdale taking over, and so it was really based around who was still feeling really good. Bundy and Gary have a really good midfield relationship, so it works out hopefully that will still be productive for us.
Jim, how big an ask for Geordie Murphy to come straight in and start?
Trained unbelievably well today. He is straight off the flight. He got in late Sunday, So he's at least had a couple of nights. He was feeling good yesterday. One of the things, I suppose, it's a 7:45 game, so that's around about midday in Irish terms. So he doesn't have to recalibrate himself too much to get out and play a game, hopefully, and then we'll give him the weekend off after that. So we're just asking for him to kind of do the best he can for us. And the one thing with Geordie is that you seldom get anything other than that. I think he's a really good he's a good performer for us, and we'd have a lot of confidence about him being able to slot straight in.
Joe, having had a couple of days to look back on the tape from the weekend, what have you now learned from the analysis of what happened against Japan?
I think I mentioned earlier, we certainly learned that we're capable, and in that first 20 minutes to be 12-3 up, I think we demonstrated that. We did put ourselves on the back foot and partly went on to the back foot. I think we were penalised for offside 4 times. We've now got the feedback that 3 of those were incorrect calls, and people were asking us about our discipline. It's pretty hard to keep getting off the line and being on the front foot when when you are getting those calls, and 2 of them were from an AR who's going to be refereeing us on Thursday. So we know we're going to have to be on our best behaviour. And one thing I would say about this team is it's something they go out and they try to deliver, and generally speaking, it's unusual for us to have a higher penalty count than our opponents, and so it's frustrating that in these first 2 games, I thought Wayne did a super job. I know talking to Gregor that they were happy with the way Wayne went in the first game as well. So that's our fault if we're on the wrong side of the penalty count there. But I do think that we've got to try to look after that as best we can. We've got to make sure that we don't become passive in a game against an opposition who are playing in front of their home crowd, and you'd have to be really impressed with the way that they got themselves back into the game. And if it wasn't us that lost to them, I'd say, wow, that's fantastic for the tournament, isn't it? I mean, everywhere we've gone, the Japanese people have been incredibly excited about the game. They're delighted with us, obviously. And I think local interest has been spiked by it. We had a group of Japanese school children at training today. We trained with the Kobe Steelers, who were superb, and everyone's got a spring in their step. And so it's great for our pool if you're an independent observer, because it's throwing the pool wide open, and everyone's chasing Japan in our pool now.
Johnny, hi Johnny. What does it mean to you to captain Ireland for the first time from the start of the match?
Yeah, it's a massive honour. I spoke to Joe this morning, so I only found out myself over the last few hours, so I haven't even had a chance to tell my family or anything, but I'm sure they're going to be very proud as well. It's something that I've thought about since I was a kid, and something that I've made a lot of decisions around trying to get there one day, and it's taken a while, but it was worth the wait, and I feel incredibly proud. But I want to be captain now of the good performance and a good win in a World Cup game, so that's my main focus. I don't think anything changes really for me. I take a big responsibility in the team anyway, so nothing's changed.
And you said the other day you're fit to go and fit to kick a goal, so
yeah.
You're feeling 100% basically?
Yeah. Kicked yesterday a little bit, wasn't able to do too much, and then I kicked again today post session, so I feel good and ready to go now.
Okay, take last one.
Joe, you had a hit out against Kobe Steelers today. How did that go? Can you give us, or was it something that you needed, or how did the whole session pan out?
Yeah, they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It was. We regularly train against our under-20s, so it was a relatively young Kobe side. They didn't have some of their big overseas stars there like Dan Carter or the like, but the energy they brought, and not only that, they counter-rucked us a couple of times and gave us a good old bashing. It just reminds us that we've got to be big enough to look after our own ball. Even if the entry is is coming in the side for us to get our wide base and drop our height and get our hips down to make sure that we are in a really strong position. So it was an ideal hit out for us. Not only that, I think sometimes energy is contagious in a training like that, and they brought plenty with them. They're coached by obviously Wayne Smith is part of their coaching lineup, but so is Dave Dillon, who spent a bit of time in St Michael's. Would know Luke McGrath and James Ryan pretty well from his time working in St Michael's. So it was a nice Irish connection for us, and a really good session with an energised group.
Okay, guys, we're
Johnny,
gonna.
can we just talk about the stadium, just with the roof closed, and it's incredibly humid and an oppressive atmosphere.
We watched the game last night, and it did look very slippy. We watched the England game as well. With interest, obviously, when you hear it's an indoor stadium, you think aircon and maybe a bit cooler, but it's quite the opposite from what we hear. Even Andy was telling me from speaking to Owen how slippery it was. So something we're going to have to be mindful of. Even when you play outside, though, the ball gets pretty slippy. The boys are saying against Japan, especially in the second half. First half was bone dry, but then the longer the game went on, the sweatier everyone got. The ball was like a bar of soap. So something that we have to be conscious of about, playing smartly. You can't just go out and run everything. But we have a good plan in place, and hopefully it won't be too big a factor.
Okay, guys, we're going to switch into the embargoed written section.